Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports World on ABC News Ghana. My name is James OHENBA. It's that time of the day where we dissect, digest, and delve deep into sporting issues in Ghana and around the world. Today, we have a lot on the table. We'll talk about the CAF Awards, which is currently ongoing, and already some players and some countries have won some awards. We'll come to you with that one shortly. Then we'll also focus on the World Cup playoffs. Which countries have qualified for the World Cup? How is the playoffs also looking like? Which countries have to play the playoffs? Teams like Haiti and Curacao have qualified for the World Cup for the first time in their history. How did they do that? Then we come to area take. The Black Stars of Ghana took on Japan and South Korea in a friendly game. Does that mean that their performances will be replicated in the World Cup, or you think that they can improve? Then we come to the Ghana Premier League. We'll do some sponsorship discussion up here and how clubs can go on to get a lot of money. And with that, we have an expert analyst in here, Dr. Frank Kusiapia, who will help us delve deep into that. Remember, our regular suspect, EUGENE OFORI SOTTIE, will also join us to discuss. Remember, Sports World is brought to you by Betway Ghana. We go for a breather. When we come back, EUGENE OFORI SOTTIE will be here for us to do talking points. Stay tuned.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Winning, easy. You know what be easy now? Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Aye easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
My name is Benedicta Apia from Bekwai Asante, a student at the University of Ghana, and currently I'm playing for Teshi Constance. Right now, I'm in level 200. Okay, I started playing football at the age of 5 years, but I quit football through some injuries and some small distance. So I started again around 2021. Yeah, I started with Army Ladies.
Hello, welcome back from the breather. Still watching Sports World on ABC News Ghana. My name is James OHENBA. We're zooming straight into the CAF Awards, and already some national teams and some players are already winning awards in there. But remember, the show is an interactive one, so you can send in your comments when we display the message lines right on the screen. Also, when it's time for us to open the phone lines, you can also call in to share your message. But for now, I have EUGENE OFORI SOTTIE here. SOTTIE, Charlie, what's up?
All good, boss.
As you said today, you run around the whole of Accra. What's say, baby?
For the love of the game.
For the love of the game. You say energy for do what?
For much energy.
Thank you. Let's zoom in the CAF Awards. Already there are some interesting awards that have been up. Let me quickly go through. I think Morocco has won the national team of the year. When I talk about Morocco, I'm talking about the under-20 side. Remember, They went on to win the Under-20 World Cup this year. So as you can see on our screens, Nigeria women's national team have won the national team of the year. Ghana were in that category. Let's first talk about the women national team of the year, then we can move on to the rest.
Well, so it's pretty much simple. The teams that were in the podium finish for the 2025 WAFCON made it to the CAF nomination.
Yeah.
So Ghana had the bronze medal, and so Ghana was there. And Morocco had the silver medal. Morocco was there. Then Nigeria won the trophy. They were also there, and it was pretty much obvious that the team that had won the trophy was going to win the national team of the year. Remember, they are record winners of the WAFCON, and so it made a lot of sense. So on another score, good news for the Black Queens that at least they made it to the podium finish.
No one was expecting that they reach even the last four
so
that particular competition.
So it's good for them. It's a good morale booster heading to next year's WAFCON again, that they should try and go a step higher, either silver or a gold medal.
Now let's move on to the men's club of the year. Pyramids FC of Egypt have won the men's club of the year. What do you think gave them the advantage in winning this particular award?
Well, so Pyramid won the CAF Champions League in the 2024-25 season. Usually, once you win the CAF Champions League, it's the toughest and the most elite competition in Africa. So once you win that, automatically you are the best club of the year, and they did it in a dominant style. And so they've got it there. You know, usually these awards are usually won by either the North African countries, Moroccans or the Algerians, or sometimes the South Africans. Sundowns also show their face here. So Pyramid is one of those big teams in Africa. Winning the CAF Champions League is what has helped them to get the club of the year for the men's division. They're
moving on to the men national team of the year, and it is Morocco Under-20 team that have gone on to edge their main national team to go on to win this particular award. What can you tell us about this particular team, and why do you think they were able to win this award?
Well, so for the national teams that were selected for this year's national team of the year for the men's division, it was the Cape Verde team, because Cape Verde had for the first time in their history qualified for the 2026 World Cup. And then Morocco, honestly, for Morocco, I'm not too sure why Morocco was selected. It was a regular year for Morocco. Morocco qualifying for the World Cup is no news. Maybe Morocco had not lost a game within the calendar year, so maybe that's how come. Even Ghana's name was in that top 10 nomination. When it was whittled down, and Morocco was out. But for the Morocco Under-20 team, they've made history. They've joined Ghana as the only two African countries to have ever made it to the Under-20 World Cup and go all the way to win the World Cup. And so that's how come Morocco Under-20, after such a historic feat, have made it into the national team of the year as the winners.
All right, so let's move on. There are other awards that have been won by some players when it comes to the CAF award. Let me take you through some of them. For the men young player of the year, Othman Mama, who plays for Morocco and also Watford, has gone on to win that particular award for the men young player of the year. He was part of the Under-20 squad that went on to win the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. So that's by way of updates. Now to the women young player of the year, Doa El Madani, also of Morocco, has won the women young player of the year. She plays for Morocco in there, and as you can see on our screens, the young player of the year. So these were the finalists that were vying for that particular position when it comes to the young player of the year finals, and it has gone to Doa El Madani in there. Sottie, let me come to you and let's look at the big one.
Yeah.
The player of the year, Victor Osimhen, Mohamed Salah, Achraf Hakimi. During the morning show and even in the afternoon show, we heard from Tom Saintfiet, where he said that he thinks that Achraf Hakimi should be able to edge the other two players to go on and win this particular award. But this time around, the likes of Mohamed Salah, who won the EPL with Liverpool, Victor Osimhen, we've seen his exploits so far in the Turkish league and also for the national team. Out of these three, who do you think will go on to win the award?
If we are looking at how this the award scheme is going at the moment, it looks like then Hakimi will get the award.
Sure.
Because we've seen Pyramid. Pyramid just won the club of the year because they won the CAF Champions League. And then their player, Fiston Maila, also won the CAF Interclub Player of the Year for the male division as the best African player within the African continent.
Yeah.
It was because he helped Pyramids as their goalkeeper in that CAF Champions League campaign. What that means is that
before you continue, let me cut you. So the men coach of the year has gone to Babista of Cape Verde.
Wow, then Tom Sanford was actually right. He predicted that Babista would be given.
So for our viewers, Babista is the head coach of Cape Verde. He has qualified the country for their first ever World Cup, and by virtue of that, he has been awarded as the men coach of the year. So that is for Babista. But you're making points for the Ashraf Hakimi.
Exactly. So we've seen the African example. Pyramids wins the CAF Champions League. Fisty Maele is the top scorer for Pyramids.
Yeah.
Pyramid wins the club of the year, and then Fisty Maele wins the interclub player of the year. So let's go to Europe, where Paris Saint-Germain and they beat Inter Milan by 5-0 in the UEFA Champions League final. Yeah. Remember that Hakimi was the one who scored the first goal, and even though he's a defender, he's got instincts to move forward. He's one of the most attacking-minded fullbacks in terms of world football at the moment. And in terms of even the right back slot, in terms of world football, no more than 3 names come up strong against him. So he's up there among the elite players in terms of the right back slot, and his impact in the PSG team was felt last season, helping them to win the UEFA Champions League, and so
even the French League,
in the French League as well,
the French Cup.
In the French Cup, so he won the treble. And if the PSG was able to go far and win a lot of medals and things, and their players went high in the Ballon d'Or rankings, that meant that for me, it's very likely that Ashraf Hakimi will win the CAF Player of the Year. Not that we are downplaying the essence of Mohamed Salah, but if you study after Salah's 24-25 season exploits, just when we went into the 25-26 season, from September to from August up until now, we are in November. Salah's performance has come under extreme scrutiny because he seems to, for what better, be ghosting in very key games, and then the goals which are his trademark, he's missing a lot of goals at the moment, and goals are for Salah his major talking points. And so I think sometimes the few months before the awards can also influence the perspective of how the votes will go.
Exactly.
And
the recency bias is in there.
In awards, recency bias is very key. And then we've seen how for Victor Osimhen things have gone south with the Super Eagles team. And I'm sure a lot of the fans were not, a lot of foreigners, apart from Nigerians, were not happy with how it seemed like Nigeria was pushed into the conversation, even when they didn't deserve to be there. And I'm sure in terms of voting, he will not get the needed votes. And so I think on that score, it's looking very much likely that Ashraf Hakimi will be there. The big thing also we've learned is that Victor Osimhen is not at the award scheme tonight. And usually for people who read a lot of meanings with these things, when players are at award schemes, it looks very much likely they will win. And when players also miss it, when big name players miss it, it also looks very much likely that they will not win. I think the last time I remember that all 3 of the nominees there was in Ghana when Sadio Mane, I think, and Riyad Mahrez and Aubameyang, those 3. That year was when in Accra here, I think that was the first time I saw, and the last time in a long while I've seen 3 of the nominees, the final nominees, all present at the award scheme. Sometimes because of the scheduling of the award scheme these days, a lot of the clubs are in the thick of affairs trying to find their ways in their various leagues, and so it's difficult for clubs to release their players. So on that score, I think it's very much like
Ashraf Hakimi.
Yeah,
so EUGENE OFORI thinks that Ashraf Hakimi is the man to win the CAF Player of the Year for the year 2025. What do you also think? When you open the phone lines, you can also call in to share your comments. But let me give you some updates so far in the CAF Awards. I've already mentioned that Babista has won the Coach of the Year. Yassine Bounou, Morocco. It looks like the Moroccans are picking up all the awards.
It seems this is the year for Morocco.
And we are hosting the AFCON. Is it a kind of PR for them? Just
you see, I think in this year too, unfortunately, we've not seen any goalkeeper really distinguish himself among the goalkeepers that were selected. Nobody has really distinguished himself among the goalkeepers. I think for Yassine Bounou, with Morocco, they've qualified for the World Cup, which is not news. Maybe the only thing is with Al Hilal and how they performed in the Asian Champions League, I think, which they won. And so that's what I think would help.
So on our screens were the nominees for the coach of the year.
So Coach Babista of Cape Verde, and then Morocco's under-20 coach, and then Morocco's senior team Walid Regragui there. And honestly, I asked myself, I don't see what Walid Regragui did. Maybe not losing a match in the calendar year is big for Africa, but realistically on Morocco's level, Morocco qualifying to the World Cup. I don't know
it's a
normal thing. How that merits a coach of the year award, and also that also goes to point that nobody really distinguished himself apart from Bobista and then the Morocco under-20 coach. I think for like Walid Regragui, it was just a case of adding a third coach just to boost the numbers.
All right, so let's move on. Let me give you some more updates. Now let's move to the women goalkeeper of the year, and Chiamaka Nnadozie of Nigeria has won the women goalkeeper of the year. Now this is the golden hat trick. He has won it for 3 consecutive years. So it looks like this particular award they would just give it to him. So so if you go to CAF Online right now, they've tagged it as the golden hat trick for her winning it on 3 consecutive occasions. So by way, you mentioned Festin Mayele winning the men interclub player of the year. So as and when the awards come, we will give you the update in everything that we'll be doing. So that's by way of the CAF Awards. So let's move on to the World Cup playoffs so far. So before we come to the conversation, let's have the qualified teams or the qualified countries for the World Cup so far 2026. Remember, we are playing that World Cup in the USA, Canada, and Mexico. Exactly. So let's have the qualified teams. That's the first graphic number 1 in our folder. That's graphic number 1 in our folder. So let's have the qualified teams. Already we know Nigeria won't be there. Ghana will be there.
Our noisy neighbors.
So there you have it. Canada, Mexico, USA, Japan, New Zealand, Iran, Argentina. We have Uruguay in there. We have Ecuador. We have Brazil. Australia is also in there. Jordan is playing their first ever World Cup. When we look at the African teams, we have Morocco in there, we have Tunisia, we have Egypt, we have Algeria, we have Ghana, the Blasters, then Cape Verde also qualifying for their first World Cup. Then again, the Bafana also qualifying for their first World Cup since many years. Then to the other side of the teams that have qualified so far, we have England in there, we have Saudi Arabia, we have the Ivory Coast, Senegal, France won it in 2018. They are there. Croatia, 2018 finalists, are also there. Portugal will be hoping that they will win their first ever World Cup with Cristiano Ronaldo. A lot of people the Ronaldo fans are willing, or they are hoping that they are good. Not the good, but they are good. Will win the World Cup for the first time. Then there is Norway, who has also qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 28 years, since 1998. They will be at the World Cup. Then we have the Dutch, the Netherlands, Germany is in there. Spain yesterday confirmed their participation. Belgium is also in there. Switzerland, Scotland yesterday, Clarence Tierney scored a last-minute goal to send Scotland into the Mundial. Then we have Austria, Haiti, we have Panama, and then Curacao. This country has stunned everybody. For the first time in their history, Curacao has qualified for the World Cup, and yesterday it was some great scenes in there. So these are the spots that are left. So we have about 4 European spots left. Then there's 1 spot for the playoffs that will be played. Before I bring Sottie in, let's go on to our next graphic and let's look at what we have for our viewers in that particular. So Sottie, this is the UEFA playoff spots. Take us through how this will work and how the teams or these countries can qualify to the World Cup.
Well, so for Europe, pretty much it's easier compared to the African journey. For Europe, they've got 4 pots. We'll get the pots for you on the screen. But pot 1 has a lot of powerful countries there. We see Italy there. We've seen Turkey there. We've seen Poland as well. We've got a number of countries there.
So if you can have that on our screen, what we just saw on our screen, so that we can take the viewers.
There are 4 pots. So pot 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's very much the big teams against the lesser ranked teams. So we'll see teams from pot 1 being put against teams from the pot 4. Then they'll play, and then teams from the pot 2 also play against the teams from the pot 3, and then they would find So from pot 1 we have Italy, Denmark, Turkey, Ukraine. It's surprising because Denmark was at the last World Cup and they couldn't qualify here automatically, and now they
play against Scotland.
Scotland through Denmark, Scotland have ensured they've gotten automatic qualification for the first time in a long while. And Turkey, for some time now, they've missed a couple of World Cups. Ukraine also missed the last World Cup through the hands of Wales. Now, Wales have also failed to make it automatic qualification. Now, the last World Cup in pot 2, Poland made it to the World Cup, and they played against Argentina as well. Wales also made it to the last World Cup. Unfortunately, they have not made it. They will have to go through the playoffs. Czech Republic, with all their star players, have failed to make it to the World Cup via automatic qualification. And then Slovakia as well in pot 2. Pot 3 has Republic of Ireland, who did some magic in their final 2 games of the qualifying series to ensure they got to the playoff session. They had to beat Portugal, and then they beat Hungary away from home. That was a very huge result for them. Albania, with all their good players like former Chelsea player Armando Broja, failed to qualify directly to the World Cup, and so they are unseeded. So pot 3 and pot 4 are unseeded. Bosnia and Herzegovina, and then Kosovo for pot 3. Then Sweden, with all their star power and important players. Your own Arsenal player, Victor Gyökeres, he might not be at the World Cup.
Alexander Isak will also not be there.
Yeah, Alexander Isak as well. And there are Anthony Elanga. Good players, unfortunately. And the former West Ham manager, Graham Potter, they will have to go through. And remember that they will be pit against teams from pot 1.
So where they could meet Italy, Denmark, Turkey, then Ukraine.
Exactly. And then they will go into a series where at the end of the day they will get 4 teams to represent them at the
So out of these 16 teams, only 4 teams will qualify.
Exactly. And what that means is that no matter your rank, these teams will not be in pot 1, 2, 3. They would all go to pot 4. So that takes us to the next conversation about pots.
So let's have the next graphic, and this World Cup playoffs is getting interesting. So
well, this is the intercontinental playoff for the other continents apart from Europe. So here you see DR Congo has been seeded. So DR Congo and Iraq are the highest ranked teams within the playoff session. So you see the other side, you see semi-final, you see Jamaica, you see Suriname, you see Bolivia. Now Bolivia is not from the same continent as the others. Bolivia is from South America. But then Jamaica and Suriname are in the other side of the Americas. And then there's New Caledonia as well. So these teams will play into a kind of games, and then from there the winners will face either DR Congo or Iraq. So DR Congo, they just need to win their final match.
Just one game. Win your game and be at the World Cup.
And then DR Congo are at the World Cup. And for Iraq as well, they need to just win one game and then they are at the World Cup. That draw will be held, that's tomorrow, 20th November. And then the games will be played in March of 2026. So that's it for the African, and then the
this is the intercontinental, excluding Europe.
Playoff. I think at the 2022 World Cup, it was Australia that won the intercontinental. They beat New Zealand and made it to the intercontinental as the intercontinental winner to the World Cup.
So Africa can have 10 countries in the World Cup if they are able to win their game.
All these 10 countries will not see the almighty
Nigeria.
Our noisy neighbors in there.
They call themselves Super Eagles, but the Super they won past the Eagles. But let's move on to the next lesson. So this is it. So out of the African countries that have qualified for the World Cup, this is their current form guide. Now, later on, Area Take, we'll be looking at how Ghana performed in their friendly games. But these are the African countries that have qualified and how they performed since they qualified.
So Morocco has a 100% record. They beat Mozambique by a goal to 0, and then they beat Uganda by 4-0. Mozambique would have a tough task because they will be at the AFCON where Ghana will not be. Mozambique are in a group, a huge group. They are in a group with Gabon, the Ivory Coast, and then Cameroon. And we know what happened in the group where they had Ghana. They frustrated Ghana, made sure Ghana did not qualify. And that's how come the Ivory Coast ended up winning the AFCON. And Senegal, they have a 50% chance. They lost to Brazil by 2-0, which was very much understandable. We saw Carlo Ancelotti's Brazil manager, his comments on the quality of the Senegal team. But then they walloped Kenya by 8-0. It's telling of the quality, the gap in quality, the inequality gap in terms of the talents spread across Africa. And then for South Africa, they played only one match. They beat Zambia by 3-1. Zambia sacked their coach Avram Grant just a few weeks ago. They'll be heading to the AFCON, where they'll be facing host nation Morocco. They'll be facing Mali, who we spoke to their coach Tom Seinfeld, and then as well as Comoros. Also a huge group to put our eyes on. So South Africa there, one match they've won their game there.
All right, so let's look at how the other African teams are also faring.
So then Algeria also has a 100% record. They beat Algeria by Zimbabwe by 3-1, and then beat Saudi Arabia by 2-1. Then Tunisia did the unthinkable. They beat Jordan, which was normal, but they went against Brazil, far away in Lille, France, and actually they took a lead, and Brazil had to labor for a draw. That's telling of the quality of the Tunisia.
They're part of the. I think they were the first African teams to qualify
Tunisia,
for the World Cup.
For African football connoisseurs, Tunisia are the qualifying giants. They know how to qualify. They always win their home games, strive for points away. So by match day 6, match day 7, Tunisia has already qualified for. Usually every major tournament, Tunisia is one of the first teams to qualify. But their impact in the tournament is where the problem lies. The almighty Ghana lost both games, lost against Japan and lost against South Korea as well. So these are the form guide. This is very much important because it puts into perspective the view of how our teams will be faring at the World Cup. Because if you study that, for example, Tunisia played against Brazil. That's a team they are likely to face at the World Cup. Ghana faced Japan, a team they are likely to face at the World Cup. Ghana faced South Korea, a team they are likely to face at the World Cup. Algeria faced Saudi Arabia, a team they are likely to face at the World Cup. And a few of the teams gave a good account of
Tunisia,
itself.
Brazil.
Tunisia gave a good example of itself. Even Senegal, to a large extent, losing 2-0 to Brazil, and the Brazilians even admitted it was a good performance. They did well. The Algerians 100%, a very good record for them. The Ivory Coast surprisingly lost by 1-0 to Saudi Arabia. Then they beat Oman by 2-0. So they are almost also topsy turvy. It's been a while we saw their wins at the World Cup.
The Elephants.
Yeah, they were at the World Cup. The last time was in 2014 when they had that super team of Didier Drogba, Yaya Toure, Kolo Toure, and the other players.
So let's move on. If we have more graphics to show,
it looks like we have to have the pots.
So that's it. So the Ivory Coast.
Egypt surprisingly lost to Uzbekistan, who people do not highly regard, and are surprised how they managed to win. We'll have to talk one day about
we'll do a show for Uzbekistan. They are doing a great job there.
Yeah, and then they failed to beat Cape Verde in regular time, so they had to beat them by 2-0 on penalties. Then Cape Verde also played against Iran, failed to beat Iran, and then in regular time, but then they beat Iran on penalties by 5-4. Then they lost to Egypt again on penalties by 2-0 there. So I think from there we've seen generally the performance of the teams that are going to represent Africa on the world stage there. Let's also see the pots where we are likely to see the various teams. Already we know that USA, Canada, and Mexico
are in pot 1
because they are the host nations.
There we have it.
So there we have the possible pots for the World Cup. So for pot 1, it's got 2010 winners Spain. They've got the current defending champions Argentina. It's got 2018 winners France. England, who won the World Cup in 1960.
It's coming home.
Who always says coming home, we never know when it's coming
home.
We don't know where home is actually. And then Brazil, who are the record holders for the World Cup, 5-time winners, also in pot 1. Portugal, who have never won the World Cup but managed to be in pot 1.
They say they have a good
based on pedigree. They have one of the greatest players, if not the greatest players of all time, in their squad. The Netherlands. Also, after missing the 2018 World Cup, made it a return in 2022, also back in the 2026 World Cup. Belgium, who we've got Ghana interest, the Romeo Lavia and
the guy is not Ghanaian. Why are you guys trying to?
And Jeremy Doku.
The guy is not Ghanaian. Why are you guys trying to?
Jeremy Doku.
He's not okay. Well,
that one we were here. We saw him. I interviewed him, so we know Jeremy Doku is from Ghana. We know his home.
Well, so we're from the Lavia conversation.
Well, we'll leave that for another day. And then we've got Germany. We also have interest there. There's Ansgar Knopf. He plays for Frankfurt as well. We don't know whether he will be called by the D-Mannschaft there, or whether he would switch to Ghana. Then we've got the host nations, United States of America.
You have one Ajima in United States.
Patrick Ajima. No, he has already played for the US in competitive games.
But he's a top striker.
He's played in CONCACAF games already, competitively. So the eligibility rules, he doesn't.
It looks like in every country you have a Ghanaian in there, except for Spain.
That's why
or even for
Nico
France.
Williams.
Nico Williams.
So I think it's only Argentina and France. We don't have a player
Croatia.
at the moment. And no, we don't have Croatia. Is not in pot A.
Croatia is there. Yeah, that's the last country.
Okay.
Down.
So no, Canada. That's Canada.
Oh, that's Canada. All right.
And even in Canada, there's a lie over there.
You have about 2 Ghanaians.
So Ghanaians are spreading their wings far and making sure there's a representation.
You can move on to Port 2
around the world. So we'll move to Port 2. So Port 2 has Croatia. Yeah. They were 2018 finalists. At the last World Cup, they edged out Brazil on penalties. Then we've got Morocco. So Morocco is the first African country in terms of the rankings, and so they find a place in Port 2. So it means if they had done a few things well, they could have been in Port 1 actually. And then so Croatia, Morocco, and then Colombia, a big nation with big players like James Rodriguez, Quintero, and Radamel Falcao, a host of big players who have even this former Juventus player as well. I'll get his name. He's now with Atalanta as well. So big players as well. And then our almighty foes, the Uruguayan team. Now they've got Luis Suarez. He retired after the last World Cup. Diego Forlan also has retired, as well as Edison Cavani has also retired for the national team. So they are being led by their legendary goalkeeper also Muslera has left the team. So they are now being led by former Liverpool striker Darwin Nunez. So he will lead the line for the Uruguayans.
That's why if he gets like 100 chances, he just score like 2.
And the next World Cup. And then Switzerland, we've got a Ghanaian interest there. There's a Ghanaian player there, Kujodua. Also, he featured at the Euros, scored their opening goal there. And Switzerland also making it there at the World Cup. And then Japan, who beat Ghana by 2-0.
You know we have a Ghanaian there.
Yeah, Zion Suzuki. So Zion Suzuki is their first choice goalkeeper, but he got injured through injury. He's the goalkeeper for Parma in the Italian Serie A. So you know, Ghanaians, we are all over the place. We make sure that our representation is filled, and we give them names to show that we've planted our flag over there. And then so Senegal is the next African country in Port 2 as well. So it means they are the second ranked team in Africa. And we saw the performance against Brazil, so it's telling why they are there. Then Iran, Iran as well. In terms of the Asian continent, they are very strong force to reckon with there. Then South Korea as well. Then Ecuador. Then Austria as well. We've got another Ghanaian interest there. Kevin Danso. He plays for Tottenham Hotspur in the English Premier League and then for the Austrian national team. In fact, he's got shares in some Ghanaian clubs, and every summer he comes around and quietly does some stuff with some of the football clubs. The last day I saw him with Shooting Stars and speak with some of the players. He's good friend with some of our Black Stars players. Mohamed Kudus, his teammate, and also he played with Salis Samed Abdul at RC Lens in France. So he's quite familiar with our territory. There we go. Australia in the final, as the final team for Port 2 there. So we'll head to Port 3, which is on our screen now. Norway. Norway. In a group that had Italy and other teams, Norway managed to win all 8 games, beat Italy at the San Siro.
But I can't see Ghana. It looks like we are very far from.
We'll talk about Ghana someday. I was somewhere today, somebody made a very vital point. Ghana was in Port 4 at the last World Cup. And since then, Ghana seems to have regressed. So there was no way Ghana was even going to be.
Even in the African rankings, we are not in the top 10.
Yes, we are not in the top 10. So there was no way Ghana was going to be at Port 3 or Port 2 that will take another 2-3 years for Ghana to consistently perform high to get back to at least a Port 3 or Port 2. And even in Ghana's best, Ghana never got to a Port 1. Their best was a Port 2. Then from Norway we go to Panama. So this is where sometimes I contested. How is Panama a better country than Ghana? But it tells about their area and the kind of teams they play and the victories they get. It means that the more victories they get, then the more likely
there's someone who said he's the GOAT, but playing against Albania, scoring 7 goals, I'll say you are the GOAT.
I don't know who said that still. But then we see another African country, Egypt. Egypt seems to have slammed a little bit in the last few years, and so that's how come Egypt are no longer in Port 2 and they are in Port 3 now. And then Algeria follows closely. Algeria, after winning the AFCON in 2019, things took a downward turn for them. They've been on a downward spiral. They've exited the group stage of the AFCON in the last 2 competitions, just like Ghana. And this time they've made amends, changed coach, sacked coach Jamal Belmadi. They brought in Vladimir Petrovic, former Switzerland coach, who actually was interested in the Ghana job a few years ago as their new coach, and they've rescheduled and reshuffled things, brought in new players, and they're heading to the AFCON to see, and then start in the World Cup, see whether they could improve things there. Also remember, Algeria didn't make the last World Cup at the hands of Cameroon, and so they are here this time around. Cameroon is not at the World Cup. Then Scotland beat
Denmark yesterday.
Yes.
Quarantine.
Yeah, at Hampden Park.
Yeah.
At their home grounds. Quarantine in Liverpool's left back.
Yeah.
And their skipper.
Arsenal.
Yes.
Hey,
Quarantine, sorry, formerly of Arsenal with Celtic now. And he scored an important goal for Scotland.
Liverpool's left back is Anderson.
Yeah, Robertson. And it's been a while we saw Scotland at the World Cup. It's been, if I'm not lying, almost more than 20 years we saw Scotland at the World Cup. So it's good to see these countries back. When I was younger, I remember seeing Paraguay at the 2010 World Cup.
Red and white, yes.
Yes, they've made a return. Miguel Almiron's team. We've seen them make a return to the World Cup. Tunisia, they know they are masters and experts in qualifying for major tournaments, but their performance at the tournament leaves much to be desired. Tunisia have also made it to pot 3 there. And then there's the Ivory Coast, who have made it to the World Cup for the first time since 2014. It means a whole generation of players, apart from Drogba's generation, missed out on the World Cup. And they are back at it. Then we see Uzbekistan, surprisingly in pot 3, ahead of Qatar, who are at the World Cup and hosted the World Cup in 2022. Then we've got the Middle East superpower, Saudi Arabia, also there as one of the last teams in pot 3. And then South Africa, Bafana of South Africa, also the last team in pot 3. Yeah. Then we'll go to the last pot, which is pot 4. And it looks like we've not seen our dear nation there in pot 1, 2, and 3. You know, in objectives, if it's not A, it's not B, it's not C. And then finally it is D. So let's go to pot 4, where we'll try and see whether we can see our dear nation over there. And let's see the kind of countries we'll see. Jordan have made it to their first ever World Cup. And so they make an appearance as the top team in pot 4. Now, Cape Verde, who have also qualified for their first ever World Cup, are the second ranked team in pot 4. Then almighty Ghana, who has made it to 4 of the last 5 editions of the World Cups, as the third team in pot 4. That's telling of our quality of play and the quality of our team at the moment. And then Curaçao, one of the smallest teams in the world at the moment, have made it to the World Cup as well, their first ever World Cup. So after the Curaçao, they got a connection with the Dutch people as well. And so that's it with them. A lot of those players also have a lot of things to do with the Dutch players. We even remember Tahith Chon of Manchester United and Luton Town. And then Haiti. Haiti also have a story to tell. Remember how Haiti is a country plagued with violence, gang violence. Exactly. The capital is divided with the gangs controlling half of the country, controlling the national stadium. So they play their games in Curacao, and for the whole time they've played, the coach doesn't know how Haiti looks like. The players do not play in Haiti. Away from home, they've managed to qualify and put Haiti on the world map. And then the final country we see there is New Zealand. New Zealand, they failed to make it automatically to the last World Cup at the hands of Australia, who they lost to in the Intercontinental Playoff. Remember Chris Wood of Nottingham Forest? That's the country he represents. Then, you remember I told you of the European Playoff. So the 4 countries there, they would make it there.
So we can see an Italy. So
Ghana can be in pot 4, and Italy is also in a pot 4. Denmark can be in pot 4, and Turkey can be in pot 4. Ukraine can be in pot 4. Poland can be in pot 4. Sweden can be in pot 4. That's interesting.
You know, it will make the World Cup interesting. So let's just say Italy is in pot 4.
Yeah.
Then we have Spain
in pot 1. Spain versus Italy supposed to be a pot 1
and
versus
even
pot 4 game.
We can have a Senegal who is in pot 2 in that group.
Yes.
A Spain, Senegal, Italy in one group.
And then maybe a Japan.
So that would be
South Korea.
That would be
that would make it a very interesting group.
Yeah.
And it means all games very competitive.
Yeah.
The least mistake you do, you're out of the world. You could be in pot 1 and still end up exiting out of the of the group stage. And then the final place is for the Intercontinental Playoffs. So the DR Congo lane is Intercontinental Playoff 1, and then the Iraq lane is the Intercontinental Playoff 2. Yeah. And so when you look at these things, it tells you that the pots can favor. If Ghana gets some Mexico or a Canada,
Ghanaians don't want to be a Mexico.
A Canada in pot 1, and then we get
you've already started your calculations.
Japan,
you have started calculations.
And we get a Panama in pot 3. Oh, Ghana can qualify to the round of 32.
The round of 32 before round of 16. I
know Ghana will beat Panama because I saw Tunisia beat Panama 6 at the 2018 World Cup. So I know Ghana can beat Panama.
Can you beat Canada?
Yes. I have seen Canada's level at the World Cup, and it is because they are in CONCACAF. That is how they've made it. The teams there, with the greater respect to them, they are not at that quality. So that's how Canada has made it. And here they are even host nations. So I think the FIFA World Cup will be held on the 5th of December.
Yeah.
Today is 19th of December. We've got less than a month to go.
Yeah.
And at that draw is where we'll see Ghana's smoothness level and whether we are going to the World Cup to accompany the others or we are really going to compete at the World Cup.
Okay, so if you think that Ghana can go to the World Cup to at least do something great, you can send in your comments or display the message screens on message number on your screens, and also when you open the phone lines, you can also call to share your thoughts. Or if you think that Ghana will just going to participate in the World Cup, then you can also share your comments. But before we move on to the next segment, let's talk about the Blasters for about 3 to 4 minutes. Then we can move on to the next segment. SOTTIE, Ghana Blasters lost 2-0 against Japan, lost 1-0 yesterday against South Korea. What are your main takeaways from that particular game?
I think that we missed a big opportunity to assemble our strong squad and start preparing for the World Cup. Remember that we have not qualified for the AFCON. A lot of these teams, if we study, they've started looking at the World Cup with one leg, and then the African Cup also with another leg. So, for example, you look at Egypt's qualifiers. They played an Uzbekistan, and they played an African opponent. Algeria played an African opponent and played. You see, a lot of the clubs countries are playing a European opponent or a foreign opponent and then one African opponent. So they are preparing for both the AFCON and then the World Cup. And we are not in the AFCON. And remember, for these countries, after these friendlies, just for more likely to play another 5, the team strength and then the cohesion ahead of the World Cup. Then next year match also as well, there will be some friendlies for them before finally at the World Cup we head into the World Cup around June, July. We missed a huge opportunity. So some of these countries before the World Cup 8 games and built up their team chemistry before the World Cup. Here lies the case. Our big players gave excuses. Others said they had issues and we saw them.
I know where you're going.
Others said they had some issues and we saw them
and they are proposing
on their knees. And a whole lot of excuses. It tells about our mindset towards
the national team,
international break and national team. And these things hurt the team because for Ghana's ranking to go up and for us to move from pot
we need to win these kind of games.
We need to win this big game so that our coefficient increases and then we could move from pot 4 into pot 3 and then from pot 3 we could go higher to pot 2. So I think we missed a big opportunity. Apart from that, there were a few for me, the Japan game, there were not a lot of positives. But for me, the only positive is that I've seen what goalkeeper
Benjamin Asari, Joseph
Annan can do. I've seen what he could do in a few moments. He made some few saves. And then as well, I've seen that with our defense, we don't have a lot of problems. Jonas Ajete is very good enough. He's solid. Kojo Prepare is also a player for the future to watch. For Caleb, he's in the midfield. He's in a league of his own at the moment. He's one of those players who have automatically sealed their
but he's versatile.
Yes, so it means one of the things Otto likes in players is versatility. That you're able to play in certain positions. For Alidu, for example, you can play as a centre back and play as a right back, and then play as a holding midfielder as well.
And even play as a right wing back.
As well. So Otto likes players who can feature in a lot of tactical dispensations. So people like you and Chi have already sold their players.
Let's go to the attacking fronts. Which of the players do you think that at least put up a good performance to at least get a spot in the World Cup? Let's look at the new players that were called and also players who don't usually get to play when they are called.
I think Otto disappointed me with how he played Brandon Thomas Asante because we see at Coventry how Frank Lampard dispatches him. He mostly allows him to be the typical number 9 within the box, just finishing off at the end of all these crosses into the box. And the problem was he got into the team, then played him behind Antoine Semenyo, playing him as a number 10, feeding off Antoine, which means he's going to struggle and chase a lot of the balls, which he's not traditionally used to, and that was quite problematic for me. And then at certain points then in the game, he rather brought on the other player, Prince Owusu, from CF Montreal, and then he changed the tactics. And so I think we never saw the best out of Brandon, save the second game where he had a few shots which hit the post. So we are here to see the very best of Brandon. I think it's just down to Otuado's the way he dispatched Brandon. But I'm very much impressed with Prince Edu Kwabena with Victoria Crusaders. Yes. He has scored already 6 goals in all competitions this season. And I liked his composure in front of goal. For the goal that was even disallowed, I like the composure. It tells me that he's a player we could look at as a possible number 9, even if not for this World Cup, but possibly for subsequent tournament. And I think if not for the World Cup, the next AFCON qualifiers, we should start with Prince Edu Kwabena, and we should have a conversation about the number 9 position. Jordan Ayew, Iñaki Williams, Prince Edu Kwabena, Brandon Thomas Asante. We should have a proper conversation about who deserves the number 9 spot. Okay, so that was Eugene OFORI SOTTIE giving his analysis of what happened in the friendly games between we played against Japan and also South Korea, and that leads us to our next segment, which is Area Take. We ask Ghanaians about what they think about the performances of Ghana in these 2 friendly games, and do they think that with this performance Ghana can go to the World Cup to do something better. Remember, Area Take is brought to you by Betway, and Betway is saying just share your codes with your friends, fans and followers. It doesn't matter if they win or lose, you get 4% of their wages. So let's have a look at Area Take. Fifth World Cup this time around. This World Cup we played in the USA, Canada, and Mexico. In preparation towards that, the Black Stars played 2 friendly games this international window. They first of all played against Japan, where they lost 2-0. A performance a lot of people think that didn't go on so well. Fast forward, they went to South Korea, where they met South Korea, but this time around they were beaten by just a goal. But the performance was something good to write home about. My name is James MCKEOWN, and this is Area Take on Sports World. Remember, this is sponsored by Betway. We are here asking Ghanaians what they think about the performance of the Black Stars in these 2 friendlies.
Me say dear me wonder so mami man me bo empire say nyame boy na ye nko yenim ye do World Cup no a ye nko yenim chen friendly match na ye ni omo boy no me de many da so an say be kwa kodu semi final ye bebe fie
Semi final.
Enu a na me de me pe
Then I be catch amanfo no mo say enye yi no.
Oh amu ne gidie wo team no mu but me de this time de full vim, full support me de tomochi no mu ko mini.
Oh maybe on say South Korea ni Ghana match no me hwe match no pa ba me won say Ghana for no aka omo bebe kakra because performance no usha low because players no yeah dey omo World Cup we say nhwe mu na nhwe players here because omo a hwe na omo no players no bebre na omo position no omo tumi ball no miye nti we say nhwe na inform hwe baby ye no omo tumi ball matches no because match in there omo di Japan dey omo anya ade kra
ti o hwe a World Cup no countries be na pese ye hwe omo e World Cup ni.
But me make on the 5th December and maybe I fabulous now. Me sure me the first match na me person be say me share Ghana ni Spain first match. And no na me share some match na be say me share some match ni pa.
And me say me dey make catch Ghana ni me enye.
Oh ade na enye.
Enye me.
Edenti o dem my ade ba ko a o try o hwe enye yi.
Me hwe ni that's what I want to say enye.
Ba your kudu so your party. Your semenyo.
Oh ya obia na soro. We ya enye me ya de enye.
Scanner ya de corner na say scanner ya
ball ya kwobon enye Ghana party. Oh
you do quarter final so that.
Oh, Masha, where
may I say, in a very positive manner, Ghana is going to bring the World Cup. The senior team is going to bring the cup.
Why do you think so?
In the name of the living God. We have done it before. Look, under 20, twice, isn't it? Once. Then under 17, twice. Why this time we can't bring the seniors can't bring the cup? We should all hands on board, all legs on board, all bodies on board, both in spirit, in the soulish, as well as in the kick-up. I'm down.
Thank you.
So we heard Ghanaians giving their thoughts about the Blasters friendlies they played against Japan and also South Korea. It's a divided opinion. Some think that with this performance, Blasters can't go far in the World Cup. Others also think that, yes, we can improve. A lot of players didn't come, and they even think that we can go on to reach the quarterfinals and even the semi-finals of the 2026 World Cup. This is Area Take with me, James OHENBA. Remember, Area Take is brought to you by Betway Ghana. So that was Area Take, and that was how some fans reacted to Ghana's performance in their friendly games against Japan and also South Korea. Remember, Area Take is brought to you by Betway, and all they are saying is that you need to share your codes with your friends, fans, and followers. And if you do that, it doesn't matter whether the games in the code, whether you win or you lose, you still earn 4% of their wager. So that's Betway for. That leads us to Ghana Focus. We have another interesting guest in here. We have Dr. Frank Kusi Apia, who is a lecturer in sports management, and he's going to help us delve deep and understanding a lot of things when it comes to sponsorship and also fan engagement. But before we delve deep into our main topics for today, I would like to ask Doc. Doc, first of all, welcome to Sports World.
Thank you very much.
First of all, I'd like you to talk about your fallouts from the Blasters game. What are some of the most important points you picked up, and where do you think we can improve as a team?
All right, thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. It's been a pleasure being here and listening to the debate and the discussions that are going on. I have been someone who have been following these issues for quite some time now, and honestly, I was not impressed with the performance of the Stars, at Japan,
South Korea
as well. Not even to have a goal in the net doesn't really.
I think we scored 2 disallowed goals.
Well, that could mean that we didn't do something right, or the player there could have offside or something in there. But at least we could have, up our game to have a draw or maybe a win. I think that, but the performance is not too good. And there have been propositions among people to say that, oh well, the coach should be sacked here and there. It's too early. Initially, I was of that view also, but I had a second thought. I said, hey, looking at team cohesion, if we should change a coach now, when a new person comes, how long does he have to be able to build the team together? How many games would he have to play in terms of friendlies to be able to, understand the culture and the dynamics of the team, to be able to bond with them and project them into? So I said, well, we can maintain him, but he needs to up the game. The way things are going is not too good. It doesn't give good signals to our performance. Now that these spots have come out, we are not too sure how the whole balloting and all that are going to go, and so it doesn't give good signals. So the coach should just give up. One thing that also strikes me is the injury that
to Francis Abu.
Yes, and it's quite unfortunate. 24 years. I've been reading about it when it happened, and some of the times when it happens, they return to play with such an injury. They can't.
Takes a while.
It takes a while and all that. But we pray and then we hope for the best for him, and we hope that the kind of training that they give to them, the medical teams and all that, they should give them up, to minimize all. We can't predict injury anyway, but they should be able to put measures in place to be able to, mitigate some of these things, to protect our players and their career progression.
All right, so that injury, I must agree, was an unfortunate one because, as you said, if you get such injury, it takes a while for you to come back. And even if you do, you get this PTSD when you go into tackles. You fear that you're not able to even give off your best when it comes to this game. But by way of update, Francis Abu is currently in France. His club side Toulouse is going through rehabilitation in order to get back to full fitness. But let's move on to our major talking point for Ghana Focus. And first of all, let's still talk about the World Cup. So just some weeks ago, we heard the Minister for Sports and Recreation, Kofi Adams, saying that there is no way Ghana as a country or the ministry will send funds to the USA, Mexico and Canada, at least if there are other traveling agencies that can help. But from the ministry's coffers, they are not going to do that. For a lot of Ghanaians, they thought that, wow, because we know 2006 World Cup, we know that government sent some supporters 2010, 2014 Brazil, and even in the last World Cup 2022, some supporters. But for Kofi Adams, he says he doesn't think it's going to happen. And what's your take about this? Do you agree with him, or do you think that he has a point? And if he has a point, why is he saying so? Is it good for fan engagement, especially we representing our motherland in the world?
Thank you again, MCKEOWN. I think this is one of the controversial issues within our space. Yeah. And I've seen even some journalists debate about it. You know, some have taken stand already. But for the sake of our viewers and education purposes, I think we need to have a holistic understanding of what is the role of government. Okay. And what are the role of funds. All right. Looking at the dynamics of 3 host cities, ticket pricing, then we can lead into his statement, whether it's sound or not, and then the Ghanaians can, you know, make their own judgment. All right. So, what is the role of government? Now, in sport management, when you look at the Sports Act 934/2016, that is the guide for our sport development in Ghana. Yeah. If you look at the Act directs government to be responsible for mass sport participation, so that myself in my community, wherever region that I live, I will be able to have access to some recreation to participate in, to curb, you know, diabetes, hypertension, heart attack, and what have you. That is one side. The role of government, again, is infrastructure development. So to be able to put up sporting infrastructure, so that we'll be able to, you know, harness talents, we'll be able to develop them to the level that we want to be. Yeah. That is government's responsibility. 3, youth sports plus school sports. Yeah. That is government development. That is government responsibility to ensure that our school sport is a top-notch. There are structures and measures in place to develop them. All right. When we look at our inter-school, inter-college sports, super-zonal sports, and what have you, these are government business. All right. Now, the other side that is also of government business has got to do with governance. It's the responsibility of government to be able to put up governance structures to direct the flow of sport development in the country. All right. The other one has got to do with sport policy development. Okay. That is government business, to be able to develop sport policy, to direct all these itineraries, to say that this is where we want to go. Another one is about sponsorship. So it is a government business to be able to scrutinize the sport ecosystem, to make our sport more attractive, to bring in the investor that we look for. So you see, government has a responsibility. Yeah, definitely. Right. Now, we shouldn't also overlook that of the fans. Now, fans have what we call their loyalty. They are so committed to our sport. They help, they support with their energy, time, strength, and everything. Is government going to overlook that? The other one has got to do with the motivation of these fans. How is government going to motivate them to ensure a sustainable support for our sport? Because fans are key stakeholders. They are a key stakeholder. Definitely. And so you can't do without them. So we usually call them the 12 man on the pitch. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So what is government going to do about that? Looking at their support. Then we look at the interest of the fans. What are their interests? Because you see, fans direct sport. They determine the trend. Fans consume sport in different ways, and they are the market of the ecosystem. Yeah. they determine where investors or potential sponsor would want to place their investment. So looking at all these, we can't also say that government will not look at the sponsorship of these funds into international competitions. When we put this together, you will see that if government has to take funds into international competitions, there are costs involved. Cost in their travel, cost in their accommodation, cost in their feeding, cost in insurance, their security, cost in terms of ethical behavior of the funds. It becomes government's business, in addition to what we have already indicated internally. So clearly you see that government will be overloaded if he has to take all this burden. However, funds are also key stakeholders. So how do we go about it? It could be a tradition, maybe from Germany 2006, all the way, to
2022.
Exactly, that has been, government comes.
Even not only for the World Cup, AFCON games.
They buzz them, they lift them. So it has become a convention. So they are expecting that the government will do same. But is it prudent at the moment? The financial sustainability is in question. Good governance practice is in question. Then you would also realize that compare ticket prices with Qatar, and now you said the prices are very high.
The last time I checked, I think on their site was about $1,000 for the big games.
The lowest is $100. The lowest. Government, it will mean that government will have to buy tickets for the fans. Aside the travel cost, the accommodation, the feeding, the insurance, the ethical behavior that they are responsible for, you would have to buy ticket for them. Is government in that position to do that? So, putting all this together, in a candid view, I think it's not financially sustainable for government to fly or to lift funds into any international competitions. If you look at Europe, Germany, Italy, France, UK, Norway, you will see that none of these governments lift their funds into stadium. But they indirectly support them by way of communication, in terms of logistics and what have you. They do help them. Consular assistance and all that, they help them. All right. But we can't immediately put our foot into that terrain at the moment to do that. All right. Having said that, maybe some funds are looking elsewhere. Yes. If you look at countries like UAE, if you look at country like Saudi Arabia, if you look at country like Qatar, Malaysia, they are doing it. They are lifting funds to international competitions. But there's a reason to that.
Because they are not known for, they are not football nations.
Exactly. So it is a national strategy that the government has chosen. So government in these countries, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Qatar, they have presented a budget.
And I think for even countries like Haiti and Curacao are qualifying for the first time.
Exactly.
That would be the trend.
Exactly. Government would want to push their funds into those areas to create that prestige, to create the image for their country. So once they are doing that, we shouldn't immediately say that others are doing it, and so we should do same here. The context is different. Some has it as a national strategy. Like Saudi Arabia, it's a national strategy that they have developed, that they want to project the nation through sport. So there is an allocated budget to actually take care of fans' tickets, their insurance, their accommodation, their feeding, even tourism in other destinations. But we have not gotten there yet. So then if the call for fans to, lift them to international competitions, then it's another conversation.
Yeah.
Should government have a strategy in that direction? If there's a strategy, what does it intend to achieve? That will be a different conversation if they should come up with a strategy. But for now, and where we are moving, talking of, we have infrastructure deficit, there are a whole lot of facilities, that are not being maintained well.
Yeah, but why our sports stadium is not even up to CAF standard?
CAF standard.
We have other sports in the federation, so are going for competitions. The government says there's no money for you.
Absolutely.
And there's already a budget for the Blasters, which is 150 million Ghana cedis.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So there is some responsibility on government.
Yeah.
And so at this time, based on financial sustainability, fans should understand these things. But then my proposition and my humble suggestion will be that in as much as fans are key stakeholders and they have their loyalty, they have their support, they some of them do even give willingly to some of the clubs and even the teams. For sustainability's sake, I call on government to establish what we call the fans fund. The fans fund. Now, with this fans fund, it could be a call for public donation. It could be a call for individual donation. And then also for corporate entities to make those donations in. This fund should be well managed in terms of transparency, openness, and accountability. How are we going to take care of this money? Right. At the end of the day, this becomes a starting point to a revenue to be able to take care of all these things, not only for football.
Okay.
So Ghana is going for athletic competition. How do we take supporters along? From this fund, we'll be able to take on. Government can now support in there, and then they take them. So it becomes a call for public donation. And once we do this, I'm sure it will be able to take care of issues of government burden, which from management perspective, I agree with government that at this time it's not prudent to do so.
All right, so that's an interesting one from Dr. here. So ABC Sports is all about sports development when it comes to this nation. This is what we are bringing to you. So Doc thinks that there should be a sports fund specifically for the fans, so that when you are going to these major competition, we can go in there and also take the money to go. We will move on to other topics, but before we move on, remember that this show is brought to you by Betway Ghana, and they are saying that you need to share your codes with your friends, family, and followers. If you do that, you earn 4% of their wager. It doesn't matter if it's a win or a draw. And again, Club Beer is also a sponsor of this show, and they are saying that your favorite club beer is still crisp and refreshing and has been bringing Charlies together since 1931. So whatever the link up, enjoy Club Beer, meaning for just 10 Ghana cedis, and Club Beer large for 15 Ghana cedis only. Enjoy with your Charlies in your favorite moments and more. Club Beer, crisp and refreshing, perfect for sharing with Charlies and pairing with everything you love. Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons under 18 years. And also remember, it's not recommended for pregnant women. Let's go for a break. When we come back, we'll delve into Ghana Premier League sponsorship and everything, and how our clubs can also utilize sponsorship to be able to project their teams to higher heights. Stay tuned.
You go like for the rich days. If you be rich days, try to make it man, I'm buying club, okay, for that man. Hey. Oh, it's on me. Hey. Charlie, make
Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons below 18 years, not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Welcome back from the breeder. You're still watching Sports World on ABC News Ghana with me, James OHENBA. I'm still here with Dr. Franz Apia Kusi, who's a sports researcher and also is into sports management. But before I come to him, there is a great update here, and it is the CAF Awards. Ashraf Hakimi is the men's player of the year for the year 2025. And as Eugene OFORI rightly predicted, it will definitely go to him. So he has won the CAF player of the year for 2025. Remember, he won the Champions League with PSG, he won the French Ligue 1 and also won the French Cup with Paris Saint-Germain. So that's the news coming in. Doc, welcome back. Do you have anything to say about Ashraf Hakimi before we move on?
Oh, I think he's a great player anyway.
Yeah.
So he deserves to win. I'm sure going through the processes and all that. So kudos to him. I mean, it's a win for all of us.
Definitely. All right, so from national team, so there you have it on your screen. So these were the nominees for the Player of the Year finalists. It was Ashraf Hakimi, Mohamed Salah, and Victor Osimhen. And Ashraf Hakimi has gone on to win this particular one. Now let's come back to the studio and let's still continue to have the conversation. So Doc, let's move from the national team and let's come to our own, the Ghana Premier League. Now, one of the things that have been hampering the growth when it comes to the Ghana Premier League is sponsorships. Now, we hear a lot of fans saying there is no headline sponsor even for the Ghana Premier League. That's first of all. Even for broadcast sponsors, most of the times we struggle. The monies that they pay is not enough for the clubs to run everything. So that's from even the GFA side. But when we come to the club side, they also, even club owners struggle to get sponsorships to run their club. It's these days that we are seeing the likes of Betway coming to sponsor, and also they have their, but again, when you speak to these club owners, these amounts that come in are not that sustainable. Going forward, what can first of all the government, secondly the Football Association, and thirdly the club do to project the league to a certain point that corporate society or the corporate world would love or would salivate to come in and sponsor the Ghana Premier? Because I read earlier, I was reading your paper on how or why corporate Ghana don't want to come and sponsor the league, and you did mention a lot of, we can go on and discuss for the next 10 minutes what the clubs can do, what the FA can do, and also what governments can do to also elevate the league. Because I'm sure if the league is going on a good trajectory, automatically the Black Stars can also perform well, and also there will be more money for even fans to go to the World Cup.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, MCKEOWN, thank you very much again for the opportunity. So we have 3 questions here, and let's start it from the government side. At the beginning of this league season, that's the Ghana Premier League season, like you rightly mentioned, issues of sponsorship was a major hurdle.
Last season there was no headline sponsor for the league
at all. Then we saw that StarTimes broadcast right was also dwindling. Then now we've seen Adisa Productions come in. Some of the view that this is a government intervention, others are saying no, government say no. Let's set record straight. MCKEOWN, there's nothing wrong if government wants to come into the Ghana Premier League. There's nothing wrong.
Okay.
Because Saudi Arabia is doing it. It is about a national agenda. and how we want to leverage on sport for development.
Because there is a school of thought, so a lot of people think like clubs like House of Folk Asante Kotoko. House of Folk just celebrated their 114th anniversary. Asante Kotoko was established somewhere in the 1930s, and they believe these clubs have lived long enough to at least get a stadium on their own, get training grounds, to be able to get sponsors, because they are the two biggest clubs in Ghana. And why should we wait for government? Because we've been able to, at least in Africa, at a point in time, House of Folk were the 3rd best 8th club in the world.
Right.
Asante Kotoko have won the CAF Champions League, CAF Confederations Cup. Why is it that at this time government have to come? Because we are already a football nation. So that's the argument some are making.
Right. So we'll be coming in there.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of details that I want to share in
as
to why we are not making progress.
All right.
But just to give some clarity on those school of thoughts, whether government is supporting, government is not supporting, whether we are trying to do politics here and there, it is not.
Okay.
So if government indeed is interested in the league, they should make it known. They should make it known. It should be apolitical. And government through the NSA should state that, hey, where we have gotten to and the dynamics that sport is playing, we think we want to have a stake in the Ghana Premier League. It's a good conversation. It's not like there's political intervention or whatever it is. So we'll leave that to government. If they are interested in that, it's not wrong. They can come in. But with Adesa Production, where there's a school of thought that they are hiding and all that, they shouldn't. If they have interest, they should come out. And we are here, we can guide them as well, if that is the tangent that they want to go. Now we come to the second question.
The FA.
Yes. You see, the second and third question falls into the paper that you mentioned about. We've seen for a very long time, like 2008, even from 92, we saw, Kena Farmer and all that, they come, they sponsor, they go one touch, glow, that back and forth thing and all that. So the question was, why can't we have a sustainable sponsorship in the league and to have endorsements at the club level?
Yeah.
Barclays have sponsored EPL for how long?
For a very long time, since its inception.
So, MCKEOWN, here is it. In sponsorship, there's something we call sponsorship fit. Now, the corporate entities that are coming in, they have values. They have some ethos.
Okay.
They have certain things they want to see. Now, those things should be able to match up with the activities of the FA and the clubs. So I sit in here and I have certain beliefs. Beliefs, for example, maybe on environmental protection. Beliefs, for example, girls' education. Beliefs, for example, against betting. Beliefs, for example, against alcohol and what have you. Now, where do the FA sit and where do the clubs sit in terms of these? So it brings to the fore that at the club level, they should have certain strategy and a culture in them.
Okay.
Then the FA should also have a strategy which will translate into the various clubs. Now, if you are looking at this sponsorship, corporate entities, it's a business for them.
Definitely.
So they expect what we call the return on investment.
Yeah.
Now, some of the key factors to determine this are issues of transparency, openness, accountability. How do they see this with the FA? It's very important. And so if I'm a businessman and I look at the performance of our clubs and I'm impressed, Kotoko, Hearts, Diana, what have you, I'm impressed. Oh, I'd want to, for example, look out for the financial performance of this club. So I don't live in Ghana. I live somewhere else. But I want to find information about this club. It's not there.
Very difficult. Even if you get a contact, let's say a communications director or even the CEO of a club, if you ask them, they won't tell you. Even in terms of transfers, They won't tell you.
You see, now many of these Premier League clubs don't have a visible and a viable website.
Yeah.
We think that, well, this is nothing.
Websites.
It is not nothing.
I think Asante Kotoko has a website. Accra Suffolk, I don't know whether it's, I think they have. These are the two, like a medium.
Out of 18.
Yeah.
18 clubs.
And even for their social media handles, you hardly see them post.
So once the website has been developed, business entities want to see your financial statements.
Yeah.
How are you making profit or losses? What are your liabilities? What are your debts and things like that? You don't see them. What is the motivation for them to come in?
Okay.
Business entities expect clubs to tell us about their vision. What do they stand for? What are their values? What are their ethos? Where are they going? So that the businessman that is sitting where will see, or the corporate entity will see that this is where I sit, this is where you sit, and we can drink together. We can tap each other at the shoulder. We can have a walk and a ride.
Yeah.
But many of these clubs, they have nice vision, they have nice strategy, they have all that. It is in the pocket of the owner. It's in the pocket of a club manager. So you have to reach out to them for them to explain to you. It doesn't work like that.
Mm.
It won't work.
Yeah, someone even made a funny comment that in Ghana the club owners are popular than the players. But that doesn't really happen in the EPL.
At all. So you see, the club owners, I'm pleading, using this your repeatable platform, they should bring this out. They should put them out. You have a club strategy, there's a culture you have, there's a value you believe in. Bring it out. Put out these financial statements out, because the corporate entities are interested. They would want to know what do you stand for, so that they can have a ride with you. You remember, I think somewhere last year, Kotoko declared their financial statement at some point. Then it brought in some sponsorship. People were shocked. I said, no, this is not magic. Because this is what corporate entities believe in. And so once we do this, trust me, it's about good governance, being accountable and being transparent. They would come in. They would come in. The other side has got to do with fan engagement. Now, when these fans, are hovering around our sport and our product, the corporate entities are interested to place their product in their minds. So if I am a follower of Kotoko and there's a super clash, now the corporate entities are expected that, okay, the many fans that will come into the stadium, those who will stream online through their device and what have you, they will see their product. I'm very careful not to mention
They'll see Betway
and all that. Yes.
You can mention Betway.
Right. So Betway. They are placing this in the minds of the consumer. Now in marketing, once you are able to place your product in the minds of marketing, now research has shown that purchase intent is high, which shows that the possibility of fans to pick up this product when they see is there.
Right.
Now there is this brand awareness that you create by that association. There's also a visibility and an impression that you create about your product. So these are vital factors that are needed in sponsorship. And so we can't just create an environment where fans are uncomfortable.
Right.
They cannot just come into an environment where, that ambient doesn't really resonate with the values of that corporate entity. And so this is leading me to infrastructure. When a Ghana Premier League, with all due respect, is played in someone's backyard, that cannot be. That environment, that ambient where that league or match is taking place, does it resonate with the values of a corporate business?
Okay.
They are looking at it. They are interested. So it is not enough when the leadership of the FA has sanctioned stadium to be used for the league, it's not enough.
Club licensing.
Yes, when they have that, no. They should look at the ambience.
Okay.
The ambience. Because you cannot be playing a match and the stadium is just right behind somebody's farm or garden. And then there are fans behind some net and mesh. And then
there are no seats.
There are no seats. They are sitting there. So you expect that who Betway or who should come and give you, okay, take this money. Why? No.
All right.
It's not enough.
Okay.
So these are some of the things that the FA and the clubs should look at in terms of marketing, because it's really of interest to the corporate bodies. They are looking at it. The things you are doing, then it leads us to the club themselves.
Okay.
What social responsibility do they embark on or in? There are pressing issues that affect our country. Recently, there are issues of sport trafficking. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Which club in the league is talking about it? Is it a national issue? Is it an international issue? International issue, yes.
Yes, it is.
It is. And so, corporate entities are looking, that's why I mentioned about the ethos and the values.
Yeah.
They are looking out for which club stands against this or stand for this. Would you create that awareness in that environment? If that is so, that is what I also stand for. Let me come and support you. This is where the investment comes in.
Very clear.
This is where the investment comes in. There are many issues, for example, sanitation. You see what this, with permission, these bus stop people are doing. We play our sport in an environment. The environment cannot be that dirty.
Yeah.
But would clubs be able to take up this social responsibility to project clean environment? There are banks, there are business entities that are supporting clean environment.
Yeah.
So if you are a club and you move in that tangent, your values and my values link. That is where the sponsorship fit comes in. They click.
Exactly.
So okay, this is what you're doing. This is beautiful. Can we know more? We want to support you. This is where the sponsorship comes in. And so with our clubs, with all due respect, it's not just about winning on the pitch.
Not just about the 3 points.
At all. At all. There are a lot that goes into that club and its management to warrant sponsorship. But in our space here, it appears we have just forgo everything.
Just focusing on the pitch.
And focusing on the pitch.
Even with the pitch, you are not doing all the right things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even the pitch is even not standard. So how does sponsorship comes in? How do you get an investment? You won't.
Right.
You need to let us know the club strategy and then the culture of the club.
Okay.
You see what happened during the Super Clash. It is highly unacceptable, no matter the frustration, for a player to chase
a referee
in the midst of security. It tells a lot. When Pole, may so rest in my condolence to the family. When that has happened, not too long ago, then this happened.
Even a week after that incident, they were still there.
It tells a lot. So which company in their right sense would want to associate with a product in that environment? No. Because you see, in sponsorship, there are reflections of value.
Yeah, definitely.
There are reflections. So if this is what you are projecting, then obviously it affects me, and so I don't come in.
All right.
So you see why Nesto Milo pulled away from sport for a very long time.
They just came back, I think, just a few weeks ago.
Right. Doping issues, because they are a food manufacturing company.
Yeah.
Doping is a problem in sport. If they should immediately associate and there are doping issues, then somebody will say, what are you using to prepare your food? What are we eating then?
Yeah.
That's the values.
Okay.
So they are very careful. So that is the same thing. If we should put these things right, the sponsors are willing to come on board, because research has shown that sponsorship is a viable means to project companies product and their services.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. I think I agree with you on a lot of things that you said, and I think that the clubs can do better. Yes, for like Mediama Sporting Club like this, Anglo Gold has built a nice stadium for them because they have a partnership with them. I know for FC Samatex, it's because of the timber company that's in Samarboy. By that, they are having that partnership with them. So yes, we know you are trying to do your best, but there is more that you can do in terms of projecting the Ghana Premier League to the world. So this is how we will end Ghana Focus right here on Sports World. Let's zoom in right into Betway Oddboard, where we bring you some games over the weekend. And remember, club football is back this weekend. Yeah, I know that a lot of people were not so happy about the international football, but club football is back. So this is our Betway odds board. This is our master slip for the week. So for the games, NAC Breda will be playing against PSV Eindhoven. We've covered that option. All you need to do is to pick the booking code and you could see that option. Bayern Munich will play against Freiburg in a German Bundesliga, and we are saying Bayern Munich are going to win that game. Elche will play against Real Madrid, and we are saying that Real Madrid will win that game. Saint-Mirren FC will play against Celtic Glasgow, and we are also saying that Celtic will win. FC Salzburg will play against WSG Troll. We've covered that option for you. If you want to see that option, just pick up the code which has been displayed on your screen. In the English Premier League, Burnley will play against Chelsea Football Club. It's an early kickoff, and we are saying it will be an over 1.5 game. Then Getafe will also play against Atletico Madrid. We've covered that code for you. So the code is BW22 4B 9B19. BW22 4B 9B19. Remember, this show is sponsored by Betway Ghana. I don't know whether we can open the phone lines for just a minute if there is anyone who wants to call into the show to share their comments on the CAF Awards, on the Blasters, and also the conversation. So we will also look at whether we have messages that have come on our phone. So before we even go on to the phone lines to pick one or two calls, let me take the last words from Doctor, then we can take the phone calls or call it a day on the show. Doctor, your last words.
All right, thank you very much. My last words will be that I think I said this during the National Sports Dialogue on MOT TV. And so I would want to re-echo it. It's all about good governance. Now, if we should put up good governance structures that will depict openness, transparency, accountability, fairness, it will open up, our sport ecosystem, both at the national level and even at the club level, to be able to attract the funds and the investment that we want. But as it stands, governance is becoming an issue. And so we need to come to the table that this is how we want our football or our league to look like. We come together and have that roundtable discussion, particularly on governance, so that government and then the FA will be able to direct and lead the clubs to be able to put things into perspective. And I'm sure that once these are done, investment will be attractive, fans would also find our product attractive, they can come in and everything will be fine. So this will be my last words.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Going forward, we will be inviting you a lot of times to Sports World to have these kinds of interesting conversations. But let me read you some messages, then we can close. And this message is coming from Frank from Bukom. He says that ABC Sports, I'm enjoying the show tonight, and Ashraf Hakimi is going to win the CAF Awards. So Frank sent this whilst we're discussing the CAF Awards, and definitely Ashraf Hakimi has also won the award. This is from Kingsley Ajay. Kingsley Ajay is saying that as for Ghana Premier League, we need to do a lot of things in order for our game to go on a higher level. We've also received messages from Roland from Tesano, Kofi from Kumasi. I don't know whether we have a caller on the line. Okay, the person has been dropped. There is Isaac from Koforidua. Because we are hard pressed with time, sorry for not from us not reading your messages. But definitely, remember, Sports World is back. Next week is Champions League. So remember that we will do the needful on this show. But big ups to all the technical crew members, from Prince to Romeo to Finger to Sammy the Slugger to Sly. Earlier on, you heard from Eugene OFORI, and also you heard from Dr. Frankie here. We are saying that this is Sports World. We are back for good. And you need to watch our sports shows. On Mondays, we have the replay for you, where we review the weekend actions. Wednesday is Sports World. And Friday, we are bringing a new baby to the scene, which is the build-up. We are building up to the weekend games. Which teams do you think will win their games? How are those players performing? And even for the Champions League conversation, we'll bring you to you right here on ABC News Ghana. My name is James OHENBA McKeown, and this was Sports World. This is how we draw the curtains down on the show. We are saying have a good night. Bye-bye.